Imagine cutting your learning time in half while actually remembering more of what you study. In this video, I'm going to reveal the science-backed techniques that top performers, from chess grandmasters to polyglots who speak 10 plus languages, use to learn faster than everyone else. These aren't just theories. These are practical methods backed by decades of cognitive science research. Let's dive in. Start with the foundation of all effective learning. The biggest mistake most people make when learning something new: they try to memorize everything. But top learners know better. They focus on mastering core concepts first. Think of learning like building a house. You need a solid foundation before adding walls and a roof. When learning any subject, identify the 20% of concepts that explain 80% of the subject. For math, this might be understanding functions before calculus. For languages, master the 1,000 most common words, which cover about 80% of everyday conversation. For example, when I was learning piano, I spent the first month just mastering basic chord progressions instead of trying to play complex pieces. 6 months later, I could learn new songs in hours, not weeks, because I had that strong foundation. Every field has underlying principles that appear repeatedly in different contexts. These are your learning leverage points. In physics, understanding Newton's laws helps you solve countless problems. In business, grasping supply and demand explains countless market behaviors. When you identify these principles, you create mental models that help you understand new information faster, because you're connecting it to concepts you already understand. Now, let's talk about how you should be learning. Passive reading and highlighting isn't cutting it. Here's a shocking fact. Research shows that testing yourself on material is more effective than rereading it. This is called retrieval practice, and it forces your brain to strengthen neural pathways. Instead of rereading your notes, close your book and ask, "What did I just learn?" Write it down or explain it out loud. This simple shift makes information stick 80% better, according to studies from Washington University. Try the blank page technique. Start study sessions by writing everything you remember about a topic on a blank page before reviewing your notes. The Feynman Technique, named after Nobel Prize winning physicist Richard Feynman, is simple but powerful. Choose a concept and explain it as if teaching a 12-year-old. Identify gaps in your explanation. Go back to your source material to fill those gaps. Repeat until you can explain it simply. If you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it well enough. The act of simplifying forces deeper understanding. Knowledge without application is quickly forgotten. For every new concept you learn, create practice problems, find real-world examples, and build something using that knowledge. When learning to code, don't just read about functions. Write different functions, solving different problems immediately after learning the concept. Now let's optimize how and when you study to maximize efficiency. Your brain needs time to consolidate information. Cramming might help you pass tomorrow's test, but you'll forget everything next week. Instead, use spaced repetition. Study something new. Review it 24 hours later, then 3 days later, 7 days later, and 14 days later. Even a simple review schedule can increase retention by up to 200%. Most people practice one skill at a time, called blocked practice. Research shows mixing related skills in the same session, or interleaving, is more effective, even though it feels harder. Instead of 1 hour of vocabulary, followed by 1 hour of grammar, Try 15 minutes vocabulary, 15 minutes grammar, and repeat. A UCLA study found that students who used interleaving performed 40% better on tests than those who didn't. Contrary to popular belief, marathon study sessions are inefficient. Your brain's attention span has limits. The optimal study session is 25 to 30 minutes of focused learning, followed by a 5-minute break. Repeat 3 to 4 times, then take a longer 30-minute break. This is based on the Pomodoro technique, and it works because it aligns with your brain's natural attention. Getting information into your brain is only half the battle. Keeping it there is equally important. Your brain stores information in networks. The more connections a piece of information has, the easier it is to remember. When learning something new, ask, how does this relate to something I already know? Create analogies and metaphors. Connect it to personal experiences. For example, when learning about cell mitochondria, you might think these are like the power plants of the cell, connecting a new concept to familiar knowledge about power plants. Research shows engaging multiple senses creates redundant memory pathways in your brain. When learning, read the material, say it out loud, write notes by hand, and create diagrams or mind maps. One study found that students who engaged multiple senses remembered 70% more information than those who only read or listened. Our brains process visual information 60,000 times faster than text. Use this to your advantage. Turn complex information into mind maps for brainstorming and connections, flowcharts for processes, timelines for historical information, and concept maps for relationships between ideas. I created a mind map for every chapter when studying biology, and my retention jumped from 65% to over 90% on tests. Sleep isn't optional for effective learning, it's essential. During deep sleep, your brain transfers information from short-term to long-term memory, strengthens important neural connections, and prunes unnecessary connections. Studies show that students who sleep 8+ hours retain up to 40% more information than those who sleep 6 hours or less. Pro tip: review difficult material right before bed. Your brain will process it during sleep, a phenomenon called sleep learning. Exercise increases blood flow to your brain and triggers the release of BDNF, essentially fertilizer for your brain cells. Just 20 to 30 minutes of moderate exercise improves focus for up to 3 hours, enhances memory formation, and stimulates the growth of new brain cells. A study from the University of British Columbia found that regular aerobic exercise increases hippocampus size, the part of your brain responsible for verbal memory and learning. The Roman philosopher Seneca said, "While we teach, we learn." Modern research confirms this protégé effect. After learning something new, explain it to a friend, write a blog post about it, record a video explaining it, or start a study group where you teach others. Teaching forces you to organize information logically, fill gaps in your understanding, generate examples and analogies, and answer questions you hadn't considered. One study found that students who expected to teach material remembered 12% more than those who expected to be tested. Put it all together. The fastest learners in the world focus on core concepts and fundamental principles, use active learning techniques like retrieval practice, optimize their study process with spaced repetition, enhance retention by connecting knowledge, and boost overall brain performance with sleep and exercise. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.